And so let's get hula hooping. How long did I go for?
Your top score was 3 hours?
3 hours.
3 hours. And that was because of the ladies' room.
Alright.
don't think you need a clock yet because you're only, like 4 minutes in, right? Do you think we'll break the, record today?
What's the record again?
I think it was 24 hours or something.
The hours for the one with the genital record, I believe that was like 6 hours.
No, it was like longer. It was like, I think it was like 24 hours or something. The longest was 100 hours.
How long has the person been holding the title for?
I think for what I watched, I think it was 100 hours. No, it says 100 hours. The longest was 100 hours. This was in 2019. It was reported November 19th. She went from November 19th to November 23rd.
How old is the person? May I ask? I don't know if anybody has joined, but hello. I will say that because I'm on my computer to see if anybody joined. But how you doing?
Isn't it this one lesson?
day we were able to get that garden a little bit more in sections. So we woke up early today and we sectioned off our garden to like different places. So we had put our potatoes in like one group, put our squashes in one group, corn in one group. You get the idea. So like it's still like one big like circle kind of deal, but instead of it being like every other, it's like together. And then we also decided to replant. But we took a banana out of the ground and put it into a planter, and then there was a banana in a planter that growed a baby. So a banana that was in a planter was growing a baby, so we took that one and we put that in its own planter. We took it from a planter to a planter. I'm gonna call it planter. Alright, so that's what we did. We did some of that. And then after we did that, we had to water the plants, obviously. So we bought like a sprinkler from, the store, and we hooked it up to our hose, and we put that on for a few minutes. While we got wet, we were also like wetting the plants. So we did that early this morning, and then after we did that, we posted some videos for you guys to watch.
A lot more how-to ballet videos are up. We've got a few how-to ballet. Go ahead, sorry.
We have some ballet videos up there. We have some on the shorts and also on the names. So like we have like how-to ballets about everything. Like what is the difference between a battement tendu and a tendu? There's a video about that on my channel. There's even a video about like what are the difference between like coup de pied and sur le coup de pied, and like the terms about like piqué and tendu and passe and retiré. Those like common terms that like you sometimes are like, what the heck? Like what's the difference between all this stuff? I got that on my channel. So like with music, like if you guys are confused about certain things, I post it on my like YouTube channel. So subscribe for like ballet how-tos, ballet remembers, ballet flashcards, ballet demonstrations, ballet
Fun.
everything. And then also subscribe for like piano, same thing. Like, and then subscribe for some fun videos. There's also some choreography too on there, like inspirational choreography, so you guys can like always like get some new moves for your like dances, because a song tells a story in a sense. You want to make sure that when you're dancing, you're telling the story. So whenever you dance, there's always a story. And like I always tell my little kids whenever they play the piano, and even like the kids when I teach them dance, I always tell them there's a story. Okay? We are starting off quiet for a reason, and we're getting loud for a reason. So what's the story? Sometimes like I always tell them like use the title of the song to help you, in a sense. Like there was a song that this kid was working on, and it was called like Quiet Thoughts, and they were like not making it very quietful. I gotta say, he was actually making it loud thoughts, because he was on forte throughout the whole song instead of piano. Literally, I was like, says piano to mezzo point. I had to explain that to him. And then even like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I had a girl work on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I was like, okay, now it's time. The song is a nursery rhyme. The song is supposed to put someone to sleep. So now let's try to put your brother to sleep, or let's try to put someone to sleep in your family, because this is supposed to make people go to sleep. So like whenever I teach a song, I'm not just teaching the notes. I'm also trying to teach you the storyline, because if you're able to portray that story, the song hits. I can't tell you how many times I've watched like different ballets and different like music videos. I'm always like, yo, that like hit, like that song and that video clicked to the point that I'm like, count me in, I'm downloading that song right now. So that was like the biggest thing that like I like always stress with my kids. Like you always have to tell a story. Emotions matter. So there's always choreography there to like add. So if you're like want to break up with your husband or boyfriend, there's those type of songs out there to help you like understand, like show that anger, show the emotions. It goes along with emotions. I'm gonna be honest, goes a long way. And usually when you show your emotions, the audience will connect to it. And they will feel your pain. And remember one time we did a presentation. I remember I started crying on the podium, and everybody in the audience started crying. And I'm like, yo, we have that connection, you know? So, go on my channel for more stuff. Oh, and if you want to know what the difference between a Batman Tandu and a Tandu, Batman means fast, Tandu means stretch. So Batman Tandu just means beating against time. So you're just stretching against time, and Tandu means to stretch. The difference between retire and passe is passe means to pass, and retire means to withdraw. So retire, when you're withdrawing and holding it. Passe, you're passing. So you're passing from either devant to derrière. Kind of in a sense, you're passing through. So it's like kind of like when you do your pas de bourrée. It's a pas de bourrée. You're passing through the pas de bourrée. So yeah. I think there's another term I said. But yeah, we'll leave you guys on. That'd be not fun. And I should have. Hi, can't see if anybody joined yet, but I'm gonna say hi. My name is Jacklyn. Welcome to the live. I've been hula hooping for I don't know how long, because as you see, I have no freaking clock, so I can't check my time. So.
It's been 17 minutes. 17 minutes, almost 18. Your top score was a little bit over 3 hours, but the only reason you had to stop was for personal reasons. And Guinness Books of Records says, I don't have it in front of me, but they said something like they do give lady room bathroom times and stuff like that, because the highest girl from what we read went for 100 hours and she did it for 3 days straight. Well, she was able to stop for, but I guess she had to stay awake. That'd be easy for you.
True that. True that. Because I never sleep.
That'd be easy for Jack.
I could never sleep.
Well, that's really, we have to get up early for the garden.
Okay, so I do get up early for the garden, and then I do. My days are packed, so usually not everything. I think I'm just an active baby.
On the channel, we feature piano, violin, viola, and it's pronounced viola. Viola. There's a difference between the violin and the viola. You have a video on that. Go check it out.
Check it out.
You're supposed to do the YouTube thing.
Check out my video.
Check out my video.
Check out my video. Check out my video. I got, what is the difference between a viola and a violin? I mean, there is a lot. But there's a lot that is different, okay? So the violin and viola does have 4 strings, woohoo. They do have the F holes, woohoo. They do look like each other, woohoo. They do have fine tuners, woohoo. They have all that that's like kind of the same. But the difference kind of between the two is one reads alto clef and the other one reads treble clef. So that's the difference between them. Actually, probably not going to tell you the answer of which one's which, but you can obviously tell. Also, the viola strings are a little bit more tad thicker. And there's different names for the violin strings and the viola strings. And then also, the viola, it is also 10 times bigger. Like, there's different sizes. So the violin goes by 1/4, 1/3, 4/4, 3/4. The violin goes by like 16, 16 and a half, 15, 15 and a half. Like they go by like that sizing. They don't do like 3, 4, 4, 4. They just go by like 15, 16. Those type of sizing. I sometimes play on a 15 and a half to a 16. I actually have both. Actually, I have a 15 and a 16. I have a 15 and a 16, and I do play occasionally on the two of them. There is a difference because you have to be really good at knowing. You have to be really good at playing like with your ear in a sense, and also be good at your fingering, because when you go bigger, you're obviously stretching a little tad more. So you have to make sure you're in tune when you go that bigger. You have to be okay and comfortable with going that bigger. So I would just make sure you're comfortable with it before like going bigger. Also another major difference that I've kind of noticed is that when you go bigger on the viola, the sound projects more than when you're smaller. Because I can tell you that my 15 kind of plays a little dimmer. It's not bad, it's just dimmer. And on the 16, it's a little bit more vibrant. So here, let me put it in this perspective. So my viola 15 is like volume 50, and my viola 16 is like volume 75. See what I did there? Huh, okay. So that's really like the difference, like it's just louder. That's actually the same way with the violins, is also the same way. It's like, you know, the bigger you get, the louder the sound is going to be, the more vibrant it's going to be. So that's the one thing I have noticed with the sizing. I've also noticed that the strings, like I said, are thicker, and I have noticed that I've had to stretch a little bit more when I go to the bigger size. And then also, because you have to stretch more, you also, when you do your shifting from first position, second position, third position, fourth position, sometimes you have to know where you are shifting. So it is a bigger shift. Also, I have noticed that the vibrato, okay, is, I'm gonna say, a little bit more easier to do on the bigger one, only because it's a little bit more further kind of away, so you're able to hit it. I've noticed that because I felt like when the machine was closer to me, when the viola was closer to me, the neck was closer to me, I felt like I couldn't really do it, but because it's bigger, it's easier to get do the arm vibrato and the wrist vibrato. So I have to say that is kind of a little bit more easier. And also, I'm going to tell you, the violin and viola. The violin is lighter, the viola is heavier. So get prepared because it is 10 times heavier. I don't know if that's because it's bigger than the violin. I don't know if that's because the viola has more backing, like because the viola is a little bit more wider in the shape. So I really don't know what makes it really that heavy, but it is heavier, and they do read different musically. I will tell you, the violin does read treble clef, viola reads alto clef. There are sometimes when the viola player will read treble clef, but that's only when we're starting to come closer, trying to get the higher pitches, because we're getting higher. So that's really like the only time we really do that. But that's it. It's just when we get higher on the machine, or on the viola, or on the neck, or on the fingerboard. So yeah, and yeah. And then you tune fine tuners and the machine pegs. I like having the fine tuners on all my strings, than not just having it on the highest two. I like having it on the 4 because I like having where I can tune it a little bit more quicker there, in a sense. So tuning it, it'll be tuned quicker there, and then also you don't have to worry about moving your pegs so much up here. That's what I've noticed, because I felt like I had to use my pegs more when I had all 4 fine tuners. I felt that when I had just 2 fine tuners to 1 to 2 fine tuners, I felt like I had to use my pegs more for the strings. But because I have 4 fine tuners, I feel like I can just tune here, and it's easier too, because the slight, when you're so say you have G, but you have G flat, you're able to give it that little nudge without having to really like, oh my god, now I just have to, you know, if you play strings, you feel the pain, you feel that struggle. Also, like, that's one thing. And then also, I don't like that fear. All the strings gonna pop in my eye. I don't like that fear. But it's okay. I like it. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm always like, when I have like the young violinist or the young violist, I'm always like, you have to get comfortable with tuning your own violin. Like, I try not to, I guide them, so I'm helping them. But I like to guide them through the tuning
Well,
process.
it's their responsibility
Right.
to learn
Because
how.
also I'm not going to be there on
Right.
stage with them in a sense. Like, I'm not going to be backstage, like, be able to be like, okay, let me go get my tuner. I'm not going to be able to do that with them. So I always try to tell the young violinists to get comfortable doing it on your own. It's okay, it's the violin. Get comfortable doing it on your own. Understand how to kind of tighten and kind of push. Understand the mechanics of it, get the feel of it. Because like I said, I'm not going to be there for your string snaps. I'm not going to be backstage. You're going to have to figure out how to put it in, and you got this. Trust me, you got this. Because I learned too, and you will learn too. So I always tell my young violinists, like, okay, let's figure this out. You have to learn how to kind of do it on your own. I'm there to guide you. I'm there to help you. I'm there with any questions, any concerns.
With everything, just guidance, but it's with the point shoes too.
Mm-hmm. I'm not like same thing with point shoes. Like, you know, when you with learning how to sew your own point shoes. Two things about point shoes is when you're sewing the ribbon in a sense, you have to sew it to your foot liking. So if some people have skinny ankles in the back, you might want to go a little tighter, a little wider. So you have to kind of understand how to justify it and make it for yourself. Understand how to sew the point shoes for your own liking. Like, I can show you, like, hey, I do this method. Hey, I would go get this type of thread because this thread worked for me. It never snapped for me. Like, when I use normal sewing thread, that snaps. Don't even use it. Don't even attempt to use it. I like getting out. I always get it from the quilting department, but it's not quilting. I always just get it from the quilting department. I want to say it's like thin, very thin yarn. I almost say like friendship bracelet type of yarn. It's like very thin, fresh, and I just know, I go to the store.
We just know what it looks like, we know where it is.
Exactly.
We don't
I
have to
can
get
send you
it,
the
and we
Amazon
rock.
link if you want it. I can put it'll be on my Amazon storefront if y'all want it.
And it comes in a,
It comes
it,
like
it
this.
comes a lot, so you're good for like a
For
lifetime.
a lifetime, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just know where it is. I can help you. I've heard people use dental floss, but the one thing that I don't use dental floss for is more because of the simple fact for the mint allergies. You know, you don't want really warm fabric. I felt the yarn was a little easier of the rub. I felt like dental floss was a little too harsh of the rubbing. So that, I will say, the friendship yarn, we'll just say run to the aisle type of deal. That's the one word for me. I've also used thicker elastic because I like more of that like thickness. Some dancers use thin, so you have to like go for what you have. It's all like trial and error. But you also want to make sure you get something that's comfortable for you because you are going to be wearing shoes. And yes, they do hurt. But you also want to make sure you're semi-comfortable. It's like the thing with like padding or no padding. Like if you feel comfortable with padding, wear padding. If you feel uncomfortable with it, that's fine. I sometimes do no padding. That's what I felt more comfortable with because I like the feeling of touching the floor more. And also because I felt that was like a little bit better with me. Some people use paper towels, some people use like the little toe pads that you get for like the flats. The gel toe pads, I didn't really like as much. They were too sweaty. I'm really sweaty. Some people put their toe pads over the tights and in the tights. There was a point that, like I said, trial and error. There was a point that I did use toe pad, and I did try it over my tights, and I felt like that started shifting. Like I felt like I put it in like this, and then in class it was like over here, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, this thing just like shifted all over my shoe. So I decided to put it underneath my tights, and yo, that worked. I was like jackpot. So that's one thing I kind of like. They sell pointy shoes actually with toe pads inside. They're kind of dancers that will actually glue the toe padding inside the box of their shoes. It's actually kind of smart, but I don't really do that. And then the toe spacers, that's up to you about toe spacers. I say if you have longer toes, you should use the toe spacers. I say, okay, so here's the deal with toe spacers. I say you should use them, and then I say you shouldn't. If you have longer toes, use them. If you are kind of starting point, I would say to kind of try to use some protection when you're first starting, because your feet are young and you don't want to train your feet to like start pushing in more. So like if you kind of teach it at a young age, like, hey, this is a separation, that's kind of good. So I would say like if you're starting point at a young age, you should prepare your feet for like this is a separation, like protect your little feet as much as you can. But if you're older, your feet are kind of to the molding. So I would say really try to just learn what your feet are like and stuff like that. There's many different like pointy shoes out there too. There's like super soft, hard, and stuff like that. There's vamp size. Yeah. And then violin players do use rosin. You wanna know why we use rosin? It makes the sound. That's how we get sound. So any new violinist and you're like, yo, my violin's not making sound. Well, maybe add a little bit of rosin. And it works. Dancers use rosin too.
Golfers too.
Golfers too. Golfers use rosin on their hands.
Yeah.
I did do rosin on my hands, but I didn't like the chalky feel. And then also, I'm a very touchy person. So I would have rosin on, and then all of a sudden, your neck is like sticky. I'm like, you know what? This is not feasible. So I stopped using rosin. I just don't wear lotion that day because don't wear lotion either. Gotta learn.
Trial and error. Learning and learning.
Learn from your experience.
Yes. There is no right answer or wrong answer. You know, like for each dancer, they have to find what their body can do, and you know what shoes they need, and do it. And most times it's just practice, practice, practice. Even with like the viola and the violin and any musical instruments, it's just practice time.
It's just funny.
Just playing, which is the fun part, anyways.
Once you get the kinks, it's fun.
You gotta get past those like beginner lessons.
That's with everything.
Yeah.
That's with everything.
Everything.
You
Get
have to pass
it.
kindergarten.
What is it called? Past like that first meeting.
Yeah, you have to pass that first meeting. Once you pass that first meeting, everything's easy breezy. Lemon squeezy. Yeah. Understand.
Sometimes it's hard to squeeze lemons though. Not to be.
Lemon squeezy. I said that all the time. Not as easy. And it's worth it.
Yeah. True. True.
Hello, if anybody joined. And distracted. Welcome. We've talked about a lot of stuff today.
You're at 30 minutes.
I just did okay.
So to pass I think your last time was 3 hours. So to pass it, you have 2 and a half hours left.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
That should be easy,
Sure, absolutely.
right?
That's what we'll do.
Are the neighbors watching?
Wow.
I'm watching.
But anything else that I can just like talk about?
me about the finger exercise for the piano, like what, like book to use and stuff.
Hang on. So there's this book. If you're wanting to build up speed, muscles, and
Memory.
Well, it is memory because you should, when you do a piano exercise, even if it's scales, even though you see it's all steps, you should still look at the music. Even with chords, you should still look at the music. Only because music kind of like repeats itself. So if you memorize where that C is, you'll know what it is. And then also, like, if you memorize, like, just try to look at it. Like, you'll see, like, you see the skips, you see the steps, you see the intervals, you see the 4 intervals, the different stuff. You recognize that clicks, then certain music is going to kind of get easier for you to play and play and play. Because you're able to see, oh, that's an octave, so I'm going to D, that's an octave, okay. Cool. You know, like, oh, that's a step, that's a skip. Line, space. You kind of can, like, identify where you're going with the music. Also, if your pitch is going higher, you're going higher on the piano. If your pitch is going lower, you're going. Thank you for completing the sentence. Lower on the piano. Lower on the piano. So that's how you can kind of like tell when you read the sheet music, you know? Middle C. Everything up here is treble clef. Middle C. Everything down here is bass clef, okay? Also, sometimes in music, they will put treble clef and treble clef. That means that you're going up here. Kind of understand. So when you do finger exercises, I will tell you, pay attention to the music. Only because it's an exercise and it's going to help you be able to play those higher advanced music. So really look at the exercises. They help.
Are you too close to the wall?
I think a minute. Okay.
Did you hit the wall or not? I heard that thump.
There's water in this pool.
There's water in that one?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I've had this one since I was like 8.
Yeah. Jacklyn's been hula hooping for a long time. A long time.
What about real time?
Real time, you've been hula hooping for 37 minutes. But you've been hula hooping for quite some time.
I love the hula hoop.
She loves hula hooping.
Hula hoop is fun.
It's fun.
I used to hula hoop in the store.
Yeah.
Whenever they had hula hoops, like from the big golf balls, I used to.
She used to pull them down in a hula hoop and not want to leave the store because she wanted to hula hoop. And sometimes you didn't want to buy the hula hoop because it was not the right.
Full right style.
Yes, you didn't like it.
Well, more because I like the one I had at home.
Yeah.
That's why.
You have one. You've had this one since you were 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's had this hula hoop since she was 8.
It's been through a lot.
It's been through a lot.
Been a lot of.
It tells you to treasure your toys. Right?
On this hula hoop?
Like treasure your toys, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've treasured your toys. You've kept your toys like going.
I'm gonna give this to my kids.
Exactly. You've treasured your
Oh
you've
my
treasured
God.
your treasures.
I'm gonna be like, hey, little one, here's the hula hoop. Oh my gosh.
It's your toy. It's your
I still
we
have
had that 8. So
I was 21 years old.
so that's 13 years that hula hoop has been around. Huh. I wonder who's had a hula hoop the longest. Probably you. Google. How long does hula hoops last?
I just went to order a hula hoop online to see what type of box it came in. Like, do you guys think it comes in a big box, or do y'all think it comes like I went to hula hoop, big buy hula hoop online. Never.
Remember we ordered the weight one and it came in a little box and you had to put it
I
together.
put my hula hoop together. Oh, so
It came with directions.
I returned it.
Well, we've tried like other hula hoops, but this one is just like your special one and it's like the one.
I've had it for a long time. So.
It's like a party in the USA here at this house.
Sometimes you actually have stuff in your like closet, in your box, and you're just like, yo, I've had that still. Like, I actually have my very first iPhone actually. It was like an iPhone 4S. It was when Series like first came out on the iPhone. When that one came out on the iPhone, that was like my first iPhone, which was the iPhone 4S. Cause remember iPhone 4 didn't have it, the iPhone 3 didn't have it, the iPhone 4S. And then they made like the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S, and the S meant Series. S was Series, it was if you remember, Series was only like available on the S one, but now Series is like available on all of them. And then the X, like Max and all that stuff. I had an iPhone 4S, and I seen it in my closet. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't try to plug it in though. More because it was exploded. So and then I did have, remember the little pocket shuffles?
Oh yeah.
I have, oh my god, when they were pink, oh my god. I have that still in my closet somewhere. So as I
Because it's on live, we're not allowed to have like music in the background, but that's okay, cause we can keep talking.
about random stuff.
You play your own tunes.
Yeah. You should always make sure that you're learning to read music.
Say that for the people in the back.
No, because like you want to make sure you're going when you go to. So if you're learning voice, you want to make sure you're learning how to read the music. You don't have to learn how to really play the piano. You should. That'd be a bonus, because you would value your worth. But if you want to just learn voice, make sure you're learning how to read the basic note reading. I'm gonna stress that. Like make sure when you go to a voice teacher, they're teaching you that basic note reading. What is a quarter note? What is a whole note? What is an eighth note? You're learning that basic stuff. And
You want to
also-
learn more, but at least make
Mhm.
sure you're not just going and focusing on the
Karaoke
latest
style.
hit song,
karaoke
karaoke.
style.
You want to be
Try
able
to-
to play more. Go ahead, sorry.
You want to don't just sit there and just go learn the karaoke style of voice. Try to learn the sheet music voice. It's very important because the sheet music also is going to direct you a little bit more, because the sheet music is going to tell you that hey, you can hold that word out a little longer compared to the karaoke. Sometimes your fishing cannot hold it out for that long. So try to learn the sheet music, and also it will show you your pitch. So it'll show you like the proper going up to it instead of you feeling it and just figuring it out. At least the sheet music shows you, hey, you're going up, so go up, or hey, you're going lower, go lower. So sheet music.
It's very important. Reading music is very important. Understand. I mean, any activity you do, even if it's quilting, you should learn the true fundamentals of it, which would only advance you to the next level and the next level and so forth.
Like understanding the basic groove.
We get chuckles out of, when people touch the piano, and it's like, you really should learn it. You learn it. And when you learn it, you will always know it. Even when you're old, you will know it because you learned it and it's in your
Mind.
data bank, which is your mind,
And also, like, everything is muscle memory.
Yes.
So, like, once you learn it, it's in your muscles, and it's in your memory, so you're able to, oh, the driver's wrong. You're able to go and do it. So, try to
Very important.
learn the basics. They're there for a reason. It's true. Your times, your sick days. I mean, everything in ballet grows to that. Everything in ballet grows to that, like, bigger moment. I mean, you start off with the teeth, because the teeth is small. Before you go into prom, we always say, like, there's that saying, like, you have to learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk, and then you learn how to walk, and you learn how to run. So, like, you want to make sure you learn how to crawl first, which is learning how to walk into a dance room, or walk into the piano room, and be able to, like, take out your instrument and take it with nice care, gentle care. And then there is the teeth stuff, the small stuff, understanding, like, okay, now we're going to do the tendus, the relevés, demi-pliés, the sautés. I mean, those are just 4 baby terms, but a lot of power, trust me.
And you want to make sure that when you find like a ballet teacher, that she's teaching you the basic fundamentals too, because that's, and it also puts it in your mind of what ballet class is. If it's not a true ballet class, when the child gets to a true ballet class, they're not going to most likely want to be there because they were in a different class originally.
Because there's also a lot of etiquette, like learning how to walk in properly with your stuff, sit up the seat properly and stuff like that. There's like that etiquette.
Well, it's like when you walk into a piano class, like what you do before you start your piano teaching, you have the student get comfortable with
themselves on the piano chair. Make sure you push your chair right. Tune your violin before you start. Tighten your belt before you start. Put your ballet shoes on properly before you start. If you're wearing a skirt, wear your skirt properly. Have your hair pulled back in a bun. We tell you to put your hair back in a bun for a few reasons. We don't want it in your eyes. It also looks kind of proper. Also, it looks pretty. When you get to go bun. Ah! Oh my gosh. Setting my hair up in a bun is so fun. The little stops, when you learn how to do it, it's always fun. Like, pliés and relevés are fun. And then you also learn the importance of, okay, I'm doing this stuff because I want to do a pirouette, so I have to do demi-plié in 4th position 16 million times, and then start working on my balance for ever and ever and ever. So, the little stuff, trust me, it's little tedious, but we have a method to our madness.
it's needed.
We have a method.
You're almost to your 1 hour, Jacklyn. You're at 48. So 12 more minutes, and then you reached your hour.
Cool beans.
So last time we were doing this, was this the last time we were filming and we went from dark to light?
Yeah.
Yeah, we filmed and we went from, it was daylight out and we went to,
That video's on my channel.
yeah, that's the video on the channel, and we went to darkness
Went
and,
from dark to light. And you see it too, like, I mean, I'm right by a window so you can see it. But also, weather changes, we're in summer, so it's more vibrant out. And then we live in Florida, so we get a lot of rainstorms, so it gets very dark really fast. I'm okay with the rainstorms. I actually like the rain, more because it doesn't, like, it feeds the vegetables. But also, I do like the rain, because you get to, like, wear, like, rain boots, and, like, boat boots. That's when I pull out all my rain boots, and the boat boots, like my Sperry's, my nice, like, high boots. And then I do have Tim's, but they're in my closet until December. Even though we live in Florida and it doesn't get that cold, I like keeping my toes nice and toasty, so yes, I do wear Tim's. And a beanie. We only get like 1 day of cold, and I always have that beanie right there. And I'm like, yo, I always like be looking on my radar, and I'm like, okay, when it gets mad cold, I'm wearing this beanie. When it gets mad cold, I'm wearing this beanie. It's a really cute beanie. It's like this pink beanie with a little like snowball on top. It's so cute. And like whenever it's winter, I always literally have that beanie ready to go because I'm like, I want to wear this. And then I think last winter I actually almost didn't wear it because it didn't get that cold. But I think I was like, I'm wearing it. So I think I wore it anyways. And man, oh man, my head was toasty. We have a lot of straw hats and a lot of, I like wearing bucket hats. During the summer, my favorite hat in the world is a bucket hat. A nice bucket hat. I have like a collection of bucket hats. I do have a few straw hats, but
Even for golfing, you like the bucket
I
hat.
love bucket hats.
Yeah.
I really like the baseball caps. Well, baseball, yes, for baseball season. Ugh.
We should do hula hooping one day with Vogue 70, the
Questions?
question theme.
Good.
You know? You getting tired?
No,
No?
just sweating.
Just what?
Sweating.
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes it's not boring. But
It's boring?
okay. I'm excited. Woo-hoo, rock and roll.
You can stop when you want.
Sing string. No, I'm good. La, 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 la. So, yeah.
You're almost to your hour.
Bet. One complete hour. Did you know there were 60 minutes in an hour?
Newsflash!
Did you know there were 60 seconds in a minute? Ah! Maybe, you know there's 24 hours in a day.
We
Yeah, I know.
planted our sunflowers that we had seeded, and we
Mhm.
planted those today.
Oh, yeah,
It
'cause
was
we
really
learned.
nice. Check the video out.
Check the video on my shorts. So we learned. I'm gonna tell y'all a garden little secret. Seed before you plant the seed. I'm gonna say this only because sometimes you can forget where you put that seed. So sometimes it's better to contain it, grow it to where you see a little bit of a stem, and then plant it. For a few reasons. One, you can really like nurture it and mature it a little bit better. And two, when you plant it in the ground or in a pot, you can see it. Obviously, that's a given. And two, it also helps know the soil the seed takes. Because some seeds in certain seed packets, the seed's not going to take. So it's easier to say, okay, that didn't take, and you didn't spend. I mean, a bag of soil is almost like, I'm gonna say $10.
Yeah.
A bag of soil is $10, and if you spent $10 on a plant,
And then you don't know if it was the seed
Soil
reason or exactly what Jacklyn said,
Soil,
the seed
stuff.
reason, soil reason.
I would also make sure that you test the soil. Test your soil, but also
Yeah, before planting in your ground, you wanna make sure your soil is clean. And if it's not clean, or if you don't wanna do a soil test, or if you don't wanna pay to get new soil, it's better to go into, potted containers. And also, we only do container planting, but we do container planting for a few reasons. So we know we have the right soil and we have good soil, cause we don't wanna eat junk. And the other reason why is for weathering, when there's storms, we're able to move our
Like I said,
plants.
we live in Florida, so we get hurricanes, hurricanes. And now, you hear the stories, oh, hurricanes are no joke. I'm gonna let you know, hurricanes are real. Power does go out. I will let you know that. Actually, last hurricane we actually didn't get our power out until literally it left our area. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think they turned it off.
well, that's another thing too. Like, we live in hurricanes. We live in Florida with a hurricane. Oh my God. We live in Florida. So, in a sense, hurricanes. The road down what's gonna happen. Have your water, have your food. So have your plants like protected and stuff like that. And yeah. And then also we found out that it was better too because we actually did get to try different soils.
Yeah.
We tried soil for just potting and see what happens with that. Now, I'm going to tell you, potting soil is fluffy. So, if you're going to pot, I would actually do potting soil just for the fluffy.
Well, you don't want to use in-ground
And then
soil because
in-ground
it's
soil
not fluffy.
is hard. Like, I mean hard. We took out a plant and we felt that the plant
We
didn't
did
really
a
grow.
trial, well, first we did a trial.
did a trial.
We wanted to put it in the potting to see
Tried it.
exactly if it was, you know, bad or good, whatever, and it definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we did try it. We did more of the try run, but don't use, if you're gonna pot, use potting. There's a reason why we say that. Potting is fluffy, and in-ground is hard, really like soft and really concrete, I felt. So I would use the fluffy one. And then also, don't be afraid if your plant died. It's also better to control plants dying because sometimes when one apple is bad, it can feed onto the other apples. So if you kind of let your plants kind of like you did the containers, you're able to pull which ones like are bad, and they're good. So you're able to
And the
see
thing is like with our plants, whatever, I don't even know what I was gonna say, but the thing is with our plants, we're able to move them, like I said, and like you just said.
move your plants around. It's good.
But gardening, that was what I was saying, see, it just takes me a moment. Gardening is supposed to be fun, so everything's supposed to be fun. It's like being your own scientist in your own backyard, and it's supposed to be fun, like, you know, it's like you win some and you lose some, but the main thing is about fun and trying to figure out what works for you and for your garden.
I learned a lot with our gardening.
Yeah.
I learned that I felt when you planted the seed in the ground, starting fresh from a seed, not like pre-soiling it, fresh from a seed, I felt like I got more squirrels and more animals that were kind of going for the seed because they
wanted that
thought
seed.
it was food, which I would think too, like, yeah, this is food, which it is food. They have the right idea. But, so I kind of was like, to control that, I would like maybe pre-pot it, sprout it, grow its roots, and the animals didn't stop coming and stop like tasting it. So it was actually, that was one thing I learned. Pre-seed before you plant it in the ground, because the animals won't dip. Another thing I learned too is the hilling helps with growing more. Also, when you
Well, tell them what hilling is before, sorry to interrupt you, but can you tell them what hilling is?
So hilling is when, so you put a potato, I'm going to use a potato because that's really when like you really are hilling a lot of times. So it's when you put a potato in and you cover up with some soil and then you start seeing leaves and you cover it up with more soil and you start seeing leaves and you kind of keep that cycle going until kind of like either your container's done or until the point of like, it's like at its full maturity. And that's what hilling is, just kind of like adding.
Well, we do that with the banana, we do it with all of our
We
plants.
do it with all our plants, but it was easier with the potato because the potato I was like.
Yeah.
But that's what hilling is, and you always want to make sure you hill as you go. More because you want to train the little piece of the bottom, and you also, another thing that you want to do is you also want to feed it vitamins because it is a baby. They're a baby plant. So you want to make sure you're feeding it as it grows because once it hits that like adult, it's fully grown. So you want to feed it as much as you can during the growing process. You don't want to shock it and just feed it all of its food at once. Because I mean, think about this way. Plants are just like humans. So I feel. So I mean, you gotta understand plants. If you become a plant, you understand it. So I mean, they have different membranes that we do. That's biology class. I remember when I learned that one. Plants and animal membrane cells. You learn that and you learn like what's the difference.
You can learn a lot going to the library.
Sure.
We're fortunate, we live near a library.
True. The library has free music. Like free sheet music. Sheet music.
Yeah.
Library sheet music. Did you know? And they also have books about like how to like do certain things, but they have free sheet music. Oh no, but they have free sheet music. That's what movies.
Yeah,
A lot of movies
we
like
got
this.
Top Gun, we got Top Gun from there.
Number 2.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discs, so you have to have a CD. But it's fine.
It's worth checking out. Oh, our library has the,
Recording
has
studio.
the recordings. Libraries are so cool. I have to tell you, our library is like the best library in the world.
We have a recording studio.
Yeah.
We have a recording studio, a sewing
I wish you
studio.
could do a video down there.
We have a recording studio, a sewing studio, and we also have a 3D printer studio, and we also have an Adobe studio. We have it's a really kind of, we call it like a tech room area, like a tech studio, so that's what
They have that move that,
the
what's
glasses, the
the gaming stuff?
Yes, those, they have that, but the library is really cool, it's fun.
Yeah. It's nice. I like it. Are you done?
Hmm?
Are you done?
No. I think I'll be done for a little while. For a long time. It's probably been an hour and 20 minutes.
It's been an hour and 30 seconds. Sorry. It's been an hour and 30 seconds.
I had a conversation with the timer. Hey, Mr. Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny though.
It looks like it's not gonna rain today.
Yeah, we plant it, which you really should plant later in the day so you don't shock the plants with the hot heat. But we had a few little things to do in the garden today, so we did it, and we gave them extra water to keep them going, through the day. Right?
That.
We like to garden early before the sun comes up.
We like gardening in the morning, then at night. We do sometimes go at night. The thing with night and morning, there's really no difference, but there is a difference. It gets hotter faster in the morning. Night it gets colder and buggy faster. So it depends on what type we like. And then we just don't like midday. Midday is like,
Brutally hot.
this is Florida. I will stress that enough. We live
We live
in
in Florida. Hey, did you know we live in Florida?
I'm about Florida side of the lake.
This is Florida.
This is Florida, okay? And we live in the center of Florida. So we live with 24/7 traffic. We live with 24/7 red lights and green lights. We live with high roads, like major roads. I mean, we live on like railroads, and we live in the middle of Florida. It's just a big circle.
But not the middle of nowhere.
I was meant to live in Kalamazoo.
Yeah,
That's a real place.
It is.
It is. Someone on it, one of the actors I want to say was from Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo or Boca Raton. Boca Raton's down south. I don't live near there. I live that's like 5 hours away, I'm gonna say. So
Samuel joined, and I just said about 3 hours was your longest time. I think it was like 3 hours and a few minutes, but it was 3 hours. And it was more you stopped because of the ladies' room.
How you doing?
And from a short Google search, we've been told that the longest the person has went for
It's
was
100.
100 hours, and it was done in 3 days, and it was 100 hours. Wait, if it's 3 days and it was 100 hours, 24, 24, 24, that can't be correct.
Yeah, but it says 8 plus, no, it was 100 and, it was 100 and some more.
No, they said it was done in 3 days, but it was 100 hours. How could 3 days?
11, 12, 2, So it'd be a 70,
So we have to Google that, because she said maybe they were at the wrong time, because they did say 100 hours and it was done in 3 days. That doesn't make sense, as I thought of that today. So,
I don't know.
we don't know about that
I'm
fact.
just looking.
That would be 72, 3 days, 72, 3 days would be 100 hours. So, I don't know. Google is like kind of, supposed to be always right, but they said 3 days, 100 hours. So maybe we're wrong because Google's always right.
We've been just doing this and just talking, vibing. I post my YouTube channel, I post everything ballet, everything music. So subscribe and look out for other videos because I do try to post like what's the difference and stuff like that, ballet how-tos. I also post dances on there. I post like music stuff, like music terms, understanding like music and like understanding it all. Also singing with dance. And then I sometimes like will post a ballet class, which is just teaching you like a few fundamentals in ballet class and what to do, combinations and stuff like that. It's very useful. Subscribe for more. And don't be afraid to watch the rest of my videos because they're pretty amazing.
Good for you. Good for you. That's good. You are. That's truthful. That's the truthful statement.
I'll be afraid.
And we just updated our garden photo.
We just did an update of our garden of like what we planted. Oh, I do also sometimes occasionally we'll post like some food recipes and some gardening stuff that I do. I love gardening. During the summer, I live in Florida, so we can kind of garden all year because we really don't get winters, or we don't get winters. I think the coldest that's ever been in Florida was almost 40 degrees, not even.
And we pot our garden, so our garden is movable.
So we pot our garden, so it's movable.
Because we can move it to the concrete during the colder months to kind of help the concrete bring some heat to the to our soil.
Well, because we also do daylight saving time in the winter too, so we will sometimes. Right now we spring forward, so we have like an extra hour of sleep. Once winter time comes, we fall back, so we lose an hour of sleep. So our nights are kind of like earlier. So like
I think a lot of states do that. Do that. A lot of states do that, I believe.
I know they do. Yeah. So like right now at like 7 o'clock, it'll still be like dark. I mean early, like light. But then at 7 o'clock during like December, it's like dark already. That's really different. It's just dark fast.
And the new thing that we started watching was that new movie on Amazon, or TV show.
We start watching the TV show.
Was it called Summer Before I Turned Pretty or something?
Watch it. It is good. I liked it. It was good. I watch a lot of shows on Netflix and Amazon. I've watched almost like every ballet show, every violin show, every music show on Amazon.
Oh yeah, what was the violin one? My Father's Violin?
Something like that.
That was a good movie.
I watched like almost all of them. If you ever need a movie suggestion, let me know. I got you. I'm gonna get you. And then I feel like I've been doing this right now for almost an hour and 20 minutes. She's gonna tell me it's like an hour and 2 minutes because it be like that sometimes.
Well, now I don't want to say. Now I don't want to say the time because of what you said.
So wait, is it an hour and 2 minutes?
It's an hour and 8 minutes.
Oh.
But I don't want to say it because of that.
As you can tell, I had no track of time right now, so I don't know if it's dinner time or or if it's lunchtime. Look. Actually, I can tell you it's past lunchtime because I did have lunch today. And I did have a snack. So, I'm gonna generate, I'm gonna say I feel it is, I'm gonna say it's probably maybe 4:15. Am I right? Is it 4:15?
It's 4:07, close.
Say it. I told you. Sometimes you don't need time to tell time. You can just figure it out.
A lot of things you just need to figure it out.
When we were in school, we used to try to figure out the time with the sun. Because you're able to tell time with the sun. So we used to be like, when it was recess time, we used to be like, okay, so I think it's like 3 o'clock. It's time for dismissal. I always liked Wednesday because I chose dismissal. And then we used to have this thing called rainy day dismissal.
Oh gosh.
So once we heard lightning, early day, it was rainy day dismissal, but it just meant early day dismissal. That's really all it meant. So it meant that we got to leave class or school early, and I loved it.
That's true.
Hey, hope you're doing good. How are we doing this for an hour and 8 minutes?
Yeah,
Wow,
not very longer.
probably an hour and 9 minutes.
11.
Oh, wow. When you chit chat, it takes a long time. I was quick. What else can I chit chat about?
There's a lot of stuff to chit chat about. Oh, behind you we're growing, I don't know if they can really see it, but behind you we're growing potato roots. And
Pineapple and celery. Did you know you can grow a pineapple from a pineapple? And did you know you can grow a potato from a potato? Did you know you can grow celery from celery? So me and my mom have this shopping cart. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this story, but if you like wanna believe me, go to my YouTube channel. There are some videos about it. So I am being truthful about this. We have a shopping cart. We had a shopping cart like in our shed. It's one of those like beach shopping carts that you use in the beach to put all like your stuff in while you walk to the beach, like so you can get there. Blah blah blah. All right, so we had that shopping cart, and we decided to take a physical potato, a physical one. It was a sweet potato, I believe. I will let you know exactly which one it is because we did grow a purple potato. So I don't know if it was a purple or sweet, but we'll say it's sweet. And we put it inside the shopping cart. And oh boy, that shopping cart is no longer accessible for the beach. It's now accessible for potatoes only.
well, you hilled it, you put it
I
in,
filled it.
and you put a little soil in, and as it grew, you would hill it each time it kept on growing, and eventually you got to where you hilled to the top of it, to
So
the
now
max
we
of
have
it.
leaves like flying out of the shopping cart. Yo, when I was in the shopping cart, oh my gosh, we've been doing the shopping cart since I want to say
A long time,
April.
yeah.
And I'm gonna kind of put to myself to not pick it until like kind of a little bit of December, more because I wonder if I can get nice potato. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you are starting a potato garden or starting to grow potatoes, I'm gonna tell you like one tip. You have to leave them in. Do not pick early, because I picked early one batch. But I only picked early because I wanted to see how it was doing, what it kind of looked like, and what it was doing. So I really more just picked it because I was being curious. I wasn't picking it because I wanted to eat it. I wanted to be curious. So I will put that as a disclaimer. So we did pick a little early with one of them. And I have to tell you, the longer you leave them in the incubator, the bigger they will be. So if you leave them in the ground a little longer, they will be a little bigger. Now, I did an experiment between like two. I did one with like one with in-ground soil and one container soil. The container soil, the potatoes grew a little bigger, and the one that was ground soil, the potatoes kind of grew smaller. I wonder now the difference between the potting soil and the ground soil. The ground soil is thicker and it is harder. The potting soil is softer and fluffy. So I felt the potatoes couldn't grow because they were in there for the same amount of time. I felt they couldn't grow big enough because I felt that the in-ground soil was too hard, like I said. So the potato was having a hard time pushing that soil. When you grow potatoes, you want to make sure you're using soil that's nice and fluffy and airy because you want to get the biggest of the potato. So if you get the fluffier type of soil in a sense, it would be bigger and it would be nice. So I learned that the one that was in potting soil, long story short, they grew a little bigger because it was in potting soil, it was a little bit more fluffier. I will tell you though, try to leave them in for past 100 days. I say 180 days I've heard. I would leave it in for at least like I would say, because we had them in from March, April, May, and we took them out in June. So I would probably say like we should have taken those out in September. So I would say go a little longer with them and leave them in. And also tell them as they go.
Hill them. And we also did the potting soil and the ground soil as a test because we wanted to see, we did of course read on Google what the difference was, and we knew what the difference was, but we just wanted to see what would happen with it, because we also are trying right now, we planted potatoes, and instead of, we hilled it, but we didn't hill it too far, and instead of putting hay over it, we put banana leaves over it, and we want to see if the banana leaves will help it grow, produce more, or what's going to happen. So a lot of things in our garden, we like to do some little like test runs with things
Trial and error.
to see what will happen or what's going to go over. Like we've been growing bananas in containers, and they've been growing wonderful. And we feel, or I feel, that when they were in the ground, we weren't getting as much nutrition as when they're in the containers. We're able to make sure like the soil's right, they're getting enough water, they're getting enough vitamins. And the main thing is, because we live in Florida, we're able to move the containers around for the high winds. And when it's high windy out, we're able to move it.
I'll be right back. Thank you so much for coming. Subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.
I was gonna say, are you live?